I first saw the film 2001: A Space Odyssey when it first came out with my first girlfriend, who was called Margaret Taylor, and I saw it in a picture palace in Rawtenstall in Lancashire. Didn't work out terribly well, but never mind. But 2001, yeah, an alternative ending for it, I think, because it's a hard film to do a synopsis of, a plot synopsis. I'll give it a go. I mean, it starts out somewhere in the Pliocene, that kind of era, several million years ago. Bunch of hominids, they're hairy, ape-like creatures, scrabbling around in what appears to be a family group or a small tribal group, pissing about with some bones and leftovers of some animal that they presumably managed to bring down neat. Squabbling amongst themselves, cuffing each other with their hairy paws. Yeah, doing the kind of thing that apes do. And then another bunch of hominids attack them and chase them off in what Andy Thompson calls the classic lethal raid, which apparently is common to all hominids. Scares them off as all that kind of squabbling goes on. You know, and it's typical life on the train going past, hold on. Yeah, typical kind of life amongst the hominids in the savannas of somewhere in Africa during the Pliocene. And then in the midst of this scene, this weird megalith appears on the scene, like a big grey slab of steel is what it looks like. It didn't make as much noise as that, it was silent. Big megalith appears on the scene. And of course the hominids are a bit nervous about this. One of them goes up and touches it, and you know, and all hell breaks loose at that point, in an evolutionary sense. Because whatever happens there, whatever this works, is this hominid is kind of granted the power of technology and progress at that point. You know, some evolutionary change happens in him that starts the human race on the journey that it takes subsequently. And the first moment of that for this particular hominid, he reaches down and picks up one of these bones, like a thigh bone, and realizes it's not just that it can be used as a tool. So it starts, so you know, Homo, whatever that Homo was, starts to become Homo faber, and eventually becomes Homo sapiens. And he starts bashing things with this, and his mates, his family and tribal members join in. And the next time there's a lethal raid from the stupid hominids next door, our hero, our hairy hero, is tooled up, and they just, you know, kick 7 colours out of the tribe next door really, and win. And he's so happy, you know, he's smashing these bones around with this big bone, and he throws the bone up in the air. And then the film cuts to 2001 and the story picks up. A really nice cut scene where this bone circling in the air in slow motion becomes a spaceship circling in space, a similar kind of shape. And we get, you know, that classical music that kicks in. Anyway, what was that? Oh yeah, so then the story continues, and yes, mankind goes through some various traumas, but generally it's quite nice. You know, you got commercial space flight by this time, 2001, including what appeared to be air hostesses wearing Pan Am 1965 outfits with very short skirts and loads of eye makeup. Fantastic. And you got food in tubes, and you got all that stuff going on. And yes, some bad stuff happens. You know, Hal the computer tries to kill everybody and does manage to kill a few people, and he's very recalcitrant. And says that classic line, "I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave," or whatever it is. You know, so Dave has to get through that, and eventually Dave is, as our representative, our everyman representative in the future, eventually Dave goes through these various evolutionary processes, and kind of at the end we meet the megalith again, and Dave by this point has become a kind of star child, floating in some kind of weird embryonic sac in this room between the stars. I said it was hard to synopsize, but anyway, yeah, so broadly speaking, the evolutionary process that starts with this ape holding a club ends in star child between the stars. Fantastic story. My alternative ending would be this. All happens the same at the beginning: Pliocene, family group, scrabbling around, getting attacked by the neighbours next door. Megalith arrives. Once and future Dave, this ape man, puts his hand on the monolith, and again is granted an evolution in consciousness at that moment. He understands technology and tool making at that moment, transforms into Homo faber, man the toolmaker, and sees the possibility of progress. But in my version he also sees the progress. So yes, he sees this whole cosmic, maybe he sees a star child thing, maybe he sees that. But certainly sees Pan Am stewardesses, you know, helping people eat their paste-like food in these commercial airlines. He sees that and he thinks it's great. But he also sees everything else, you know. He sees, you know, the burning of the witches in the 16th, 17th century, 15th century. He sees burning of the books, he sees the burning of the Jews, he sees the Holocaust, he sees the bombing of Dresden, he sees Hiroshima and Nagasaki, he sees Rwanda and Bosnia, he sees towers falling, he sees people being gassed, you know, the Marsh Arabs and all that lot being, he sees all this shit, he sees the First World War, he sees all the world wars, he sees waterboarding, he sees trolling on the internet, he sees people being rude to each other, sees all this shit. And then he takes his hand off the megalith and his hand reaches down for the bone. And now he has two possibilities. He can follow the original plot line, teach the bone activity to his mates, wait till the family next door come across and beat the seven colours of shit out of them, and set humans on that trajectory towards possibly cosmic star child between the stars, but also everything else that goes with it that I've just mentioned. Or he could decide against it. He could put the bone down and decide, actually, you know, it's just not worth it. I think I'll just stay stupid. Or he could jump off a cliff even, couldn't he?